Welcome to the VarsityKansas.com 2-minute drill. I am Joanna Chadwick of the Wichita Eagle and VarsityKansas.com. And it was an interesting second week of district play because some things became clear and others became a little bit more muddy. Let's start off with talking about Heights beating Emporia in Class 5A District 5. They won 41-28, and Heights does clinch a playoff berth in 5A. Rodney Murphy, 203 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, 54, 82, and 3 yards for him. Trey King, 125 yards with 2 touchdowns, and Trenton Autry with 96 rushing yards. Now, the other part of 5A District 5 is where it becomes a little bit confusing because you've got Andover beating Capon 24-21. Cohen Rasmussen with 2 passing touchdowns in that, and Brock Monty for Capon. He had 109 rushing, 2 touchdowns, 156 passing, and he hit Nick Channel, a freshman, for a 93-yard touchdown. But next week, it all comes down to how those two teams do. It's going to come down most likely to points if they both win. If they both lose, it's going to come down to points. So it'll be interesting to watch next week. How about Valley Center beating Mays? And if you pick that game, you are clearly a Hornets fan because I did not see that coming. 28-14. I just did not see Mays being lackluster after the loss to Carroll. I thought that Connor Lungwitz and that offense would come out swinging in that, and they just did not. Dylan Shear with 151 passing yards for Valley, and Connor Lungwitz with 210. Northwest continues its winning roll. They beat Garden City 35-14, and that district in Class 6A will come down to who wins the district title next week when Northwest 2-0 and Hutchinson 2-0 meet each other. Keyshawn McGaw had 119 rushing yards and a touchdown for Northwest. Kavion Richard continues to impress for Northwest, 164 passing yards and a touchdown. McPherson beats Buhler just when I think I've got it all figured out, and Buhler is one of the top teams in the state, and the McPherson wins 44-42. Now, McPherson is no slouch, but I still expected Buhler to take this game. Kyler Kinnaman, 199 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. He had 128 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, plus he had an interception return for a touchdown. Jace Williams for Buhler, 146 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, plus a rushing touchdown. Dylan England for Buhler, he had 122 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. But now Buhler is looking at it's going to need to go in and beat Abilene. And Hayes comes away with a win over Abilene, so it's going to be a very interesting final week in that 4A Division I district. Carroll beats Mays South 37-0, and yes, Mays South can take away a moral victory from this game because they've held Carroll to 37 points, which is their lowest scoring output. Denzel Goolsby with 77 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. But really the bigger story there is that May South, 30 yards of total offense. 30. Chaparral beats Cheney 21-0. Sean Newlick with 122 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Derby clinches a berth by beating Wichita South 52-14. Brady Russ, 102 rushing yards, 142 passing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. And Deron Jackson again with another defensive touchdown. Trinity's Tyler Burns had 4 touchdowns and a 50-14 win over Haven, and it was Collegiate's Jacquees Williams who had 3 touchdowns in a 60-7 win over Independent. So a lot of things became clear, and a lot of things are still left up in the air for the final game of the regular season next week.